Uh, just before I move step of this item, I want to acknowledge all of you, particularly the executive mayor, the deputy executive mayor, the council whip, members of the mayoral committee, the chairpersons of council standing committees, whips of different political parties, councillors in general, our management, led by the city manager and heads of departments, our guest, the Auditor General and Chair of the Audit Committee, our media, and the public at large. May I now draw your attention to the fact that we are live on our social platform. There's a translation services available for ease of reference and communication. Channel 2 is Sesotho. Channel 1 on your devices there is isiXhosa. Channel 3 is Afrikaans. This is a new year, and I trust that colleagues are coming back with a renewed sense of enthusiasm to do the work that they are supposed to do. Trusting as well that you are coming back from a period of recess, you have had enough time to replenish your energies. And those of you who took some time off from your busy schedule, I'm sure you did that in order to give your bodies and your energies some head start. We would want that kind of energy as we do what we are supposed to do during the present calendar year. We are also hoping that the contributions we will all make individually and collectively will seek to enhance good governance, sound and prudent financial management, accountability, as well as efficient and effective service delivery to our communities. I am now going to step off the first item and proceed to the second item. But just before I do that, let me, in terms of our rules and our standing rules and orders, confirm that our quorum is at 76, and therefore we are now in a right position to can proceed with the business of the day. Item 2 of our agenda deals with the notice of the meeting. The notice of this meeting was given in terms of the provisions of Section 29, subsection 1 of the Local Government Municipal Structures Act of 1998, Act number 117 as amended, and Rule 6.1 of Council Standing Rules and Orders, that an ordinary meeting of the Mangaung Metropolitan Council be convened on those specified dates and time and the venue. We therefore are sitting here today consistent with those two provisions as quoted in our agenda here. I also want to draw the attention of the meeting to Rule 6.1 of our standing rules and orders. Rule 6.1 reads as thus: the city manager must, unless otherwise provided for in these rules, at least 48 hours give notice in writing of the date, venue, and time for the holding of an ordinary or a special meeting. All relevant and required documentation shall be delivered to all council members within the municipality as determined by the council from time to time. Sent by electronic mail to an address provided by the councillor as his or her official address or mail address. May I proceed to read Rule 7, 7.1, which deals with non-service of notices. It reads as thus: accidental omission to serve on any councillor or notice of the meeting shall not invalidate the proceedings of that meeting. I am quoting these two rules specifically to bring to the attention of honorable members that indeed our standing rules are not exclusive to a type of service. They do not prefer one method over the other. They simply say once a notice was rendered through an email provided by a councillor, that will suffice. Once that notice together with the documents were provided or sent to the relevant councillor, that will suffice. However, as a custom, we have in the past preferred that even if it is so, this must be followed up by hard copies. I'm just saying the rule does not prefer one method over the other. It suffices to indicate that the meeting is in order once that rule was satisfied, either through the provision of an email, a notice having been served to a councillor through an email provided, and documents provided through an email supplied by that councillor. In terms of those rules, that provision stands, and it neither prefers one method or the other. Secondly, in the unlikely event where this notice was not served to a member or a group of members, Rule 7.1 says that this will not invalidate the proceedings of the meeting. Just a simple interpretation means that if for whatever reason I did not receive a notice of the meeting together with the documents to be considered in that meeting, it does not automatically imply that the meeting is invalid because I was not served. I am bringing this to your attention, councillors, because yesterday we have had to convene an impromptu troika where myself, the executive mayor, the deputy executive mayor, and the chief whip sat down to consider one important occurrence, because in the morning we were informed that one printer collapsed, and as a result it had delayed the production of documents to the attention of councillors, despite the fact that those documents were sent electronically. We then convened through the office of the council whip a multi-party session where all the whips of different political parties were asked and we sought their counsel. After some comprehensive and lengthy deliberations, the meeting then came to a decision that we should proceed with the business of the day, regardless of the challenges that have been highlighted, that there was a situation, a likelihood where a number of councillors will not be receiving hard copies on time. Irrespective of the fact that soft copies were furnished to councillors on time. So I'm just reflecting on the history behind the late arrival of documents to councillors, that this was unintended. We also had to sit down to agree in that multi-party forum that some other items which are part of the agenda for today will not be considered. We will only consider those items that deals with compliance. As you would recall, our rules and our regulations provide that certain matters must be attended to within a prescribed period of time. For instance, your annual report has got to serve during the first month of the year. We have got to consider annual financial statements and so on. So we then agree that as a guidance, when the executive mayor presents his items, he will obviously take into consideration that important decision of the multi-party forum to isolate matters that are not of compliance. They be deferred back to a later meeting, and only those matters that are of compliance be considered. Be that as it may, honorable councillors, I fully understand that at times it doesn't augur well for members to come to a session when they did not have sufficient time to peruse over the documents that must be adopted or noted by this August House. In the past, I have made a commitment that this shall not continue. And I am still keeping on those ways that it has got to stop, but we will have to do one or two things to amend the rules so that if we decide to go paperless, that should be the rule. That as from this period, we will no longer be receiving our documents, hard copies. We will embrace the fourth industrial revolution and accept electronic documents. So the onus, honestly, is on this August House. But I also take exception of the fact that for a smooth and informed debate, it is always advisable that members are treated with respect. They are given enough time to consider documents that must be presented to the council meeting so that they can make a meaningful contribution as and when matters are presented for debates during the council sitting. I therefore wish to step off that item in view of that lengthy background. I want to step off that item 2, and proceed to item 3. Okay, Councillor Mungale.
Yeah. Honorable Speaker, Dr. Matai, Happy New Year. The issue I wanted to raise was that when we go paperless, we should also consider the fact that we have been given laptops that are not working. And councillors had to use cell phones in trying to open the document that we are referring to, and which was not an easy task. With laptop, you'll open a document, minimize it, open another one, minimize it, and it becomes easy for you to operate all the documents that you want to work on. Even if you want to take notes, you'll also have a portion for taking notes. But this is not available. And mind you, we are not IT experts here to be able to say, we are like our children, will be able to use all those, one gadget for all those functions easily. And we have not been taken even on orientation or on some of those matters. The reason I was raising this issue was to say, I'm aware of the agency of the council sitting and making sure that it complies. But we should also not compromise the tools of the trade, because this is where the whole thing started, and it seems like it's not taken serious. Right now, my laptop is with IT of the municipality. I told them it's not working. They've just taken it somewhere in October, November. It is still with them. I don't know whether are they trying to repair it or it is something that cannot be repaired altogether. But all I'm saying is that the report that came to us, it created an impression that councillors were bought new laptops. See, they were not new, they were arrangement. This is where the problem is. Those are not new laptops. And now, we end up fighting over small things. It's like we are fighting for pin pop, candy floss and all that, and that is not what we are fighting for. All what we are asking is that let the tools of the trade be here, and they must be compatible so that we can be able to perform to the required standard. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Councillor Mongale, for that valuable point. I think we also need to take into consideration that some councillors, 6 or 7 or so, those who joined us towards late last year, are also without the tools of trade. I am going to make a special plea to the city manager to attend to this and provide a report to members of the Troika in the next 7 days. Give us a report on the extent to which they have been able to address this critical point, because I'm aware that in most cases in the past, councillors would say, look, I have received a zip code and I am unable to open a document. And it is becoming extremely difficult for them to make any meaningful contribution once they are unable to access those documents. So I will be requesting the city manager to engage with this matter, and in the next 7 days, report back to the Troika. We will, for ease of reference, provide as well an update through your emails on how far are we in handling this matter. Thank you very much. May I now proceed to item 3 of our agenda, which is leave of application.
Mr. Speaker.
Okay, go ahead.
Just allow me. Mr. Speaker, just to bring something to your attention, in the previous term, a resolution was taken by council that the parking at the back can be used by councillors during council meetings. It was brought to the attention this past Section 80 committee meeting we had on Monday. Councillors are still struggling to park there. So if we can maybe just go back to that resolution and just implement it again. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you for that point. I think it is duly recorded. Chodi Khamanyane, can you please attend to that so that in the ensuing meetings, this matter is avoided to allow councillors to freely park. I am now stepping off this item.
Mr. Speaker.
Okay, Councillor.
Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker, and sorry to interject. Mr. Speaker, I would like to make a plea that we stick by our standing rules and orders. Some of us are staying in Tabanchu, where sometimes the network is very terrible, and we are unable to use our own simple gadgets to access the soft copies that were sent. I only received a huge package at around 4:30 yesterday. That hinders my participation within the council, and I cannot fully participate if I did not go through the documents. Because if I indeed want to take part fully in the council proceedings, it will cost me to go through the documents up until 3 a.m. in the morning. When I get here, I'm going to be sleepy. That does not serve any purpose. So I would like to plead, Mr. Speaker, please. I understand the frustration that was caused by the printers, but if you can abide by the standing rules and orders, and bearing in mind that even if I have my simple laptop in Tabancho, when it's cloudy, it is so difficult for me to have access to internet. So that simply means I'm unable to do my oversight completely, and I'm unable to peruse through the documents thoroughly so that I can make available input within the council. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I did not hear you citing the correct rule. And what are you suggesting?
Speaker, some of my colleagues received their documents on, was it on Wednesday, if I'm correct? They received their hard copies earlier. What I was referring to was, if councillors from Tabancho, the former Naledi and Bosabelo, can be prioritized and receive hard copies before it can be distributed around Bloom, because in Bloom they have easy access to internet. So if we can be prioritized and receive hard documents, so that maybe when the printers are not functioning properly, a majority of the councillors in Bloom, they've got easy access to internet, and they'll be able to peruse their documents via their own gadgets. It will help us a lot.
Thank you, Councillor. I think that is duly recorded. We will do our best to accommodate your proposal. May I now proceed to item 3, is leave of applications. That item has been dealt with administratively. I am now stepping off this item. Let's proceed to item 4, which is the acceptance of the agenda. May I see a mover, Councillor Mariga?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to rise on item 15 motions, if you'll allow me. Agenda item 15 motions.
Motions of sympathy and congratulations.
No, number 15, item 15 at the end. It's on page 6, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Can I continue, Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the DA submitted 3 motions. We submitted a motion to establish an automated walk-in and online contact center for the Mangaung Metro Municipality on 14 June 2023. We also submitted a motion in terms of Section 29 of the Mangaung Standing Rules and Orders, establishment of a steering committee for water crises in Mangaung, also on 14 June 2023, and then another motion for the quarterly approval of indigent applications on 12 December 2024. We complied with the Standing Rules and Orders, Rule 21.1. At ordinary council meetings, motions submitted will serve, and read with Rule 29.2. Any notice of motion shall be submitted to the Speaker or Chairperson before 10 days prior to the meeting of the council or committee. We further did not receive any communication from the City Manager in accordance with Rule 29.2 that motions or ultra virus existing legislation and cannot be placed on the agenda paper. So we didn't receive any communication that our motions cannot be placed on the agenda paper. Yet our motions are once again not on the agenda paper for today's ordinary council meeting. Could we please get answers why our motions are ignored, as it is our constitutional right to bring motions to council for consideration? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. Notwithstanding what you have just said, let's park it right there, because I want us to present the items for consideration first by the meeting. May I note the Deputy Executive Mayor? We will revert back to what we have just raised.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'll just request that item 3 and 4, section 52D and section 72 be combined. And then section 5, 6, the section 71 reports of October, November, December, and 10.9 to be combined when we table those items. Thank you very much, Speaker.
You'll have to be very slow so that we can follow your proposal, DM. Which items do you want the meeting first to consider? Do you want the meeting to consider all of these items or only specified items? And if it is specified items, can we then propose and highlight those items that you want us to consider in this meeting?
Okay, as you said, Honorable Speaker, that if we can focus on the compliance items today, all the compliance items must be considered in these councils today. Thank you.
Now, second to that, your proposal goes further to say we are combining which items?
3 and 4, section 52D, section 72, report to be combined, and also section 71, report 10.5, 10.6, 10.7, and plus 10.9, submission of the midterm budget and performance assessment report for period ending 31st December 2024 to be combined. Thank you.
So effectively, after that, you are now submitting that we should accept this agenda. Okay, I see the hands, the following hands. Councillor Twala. Councillor Kruger, you have a new name tag today. Okay, Councillor Kruger, you will be the first. Councillor Snyman, you will be the second. Any other hand? Only those two hands. Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think by taking the wrong name tag, maybe marriage is on the way, I receive. Councillor Speaker, Honorable Speaker, I fully support the proposal, the first proposal of the Deputy Mayor in terms of focusing on the compliance issues only, and then secondly, the way she has proposed the items that we're going to combine. I thank you.
Councillor Snyman.
Thank you, Speaker. I just want to make sure that they want to combine 5, 6, 7, and 9. That doesn't work because it's not the same things. 9 should be separate. I'm not sure if the Model Committee member will agree with me.
Do you want to give a quick reply to that?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the reports is in any case, all of them are combined because it coincides now with your midterm report. You have your monthly reports, you have your second quarter report, which then constitutes your, which is all encompassed within your midterm report. Thank you.
Perfect. Councillor Viviers.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I think the confusion here was caused during the urgent whippery yesterday, where initially it was said that 5, 6, and 7 will be combined, and now suddenly 9 is together with it. So that's where the confusion is coming from. However, I do have to agree with the finance chair that I don't really see a problem in combining 9 also, and hopefully we can save some time. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Can I now see hands of those who are in favor of the proposal which has been seconded to adopt the agenda focusing only on the compliance matters? The compliance matters have been highlighted by the Deputy Executive Mayor. Are the reports emanating from the Executive Mayor, and which reports she said must be combined? So can I now see hands of those in favor of that proposal? Thank you, councillors. The majority of you agrees. This should fairly be easy because at least yesterday there was a platform where all of you had shared your views on how we should approach our agenda for today. And I indeed appreciate that. Thank you very much. I am now going to proceed to item 5. Item 5 deals with announcements. Councillor Davis. Oh, yeah.
Apologies, Mr. Speaker. Can we just maybe get an answer with regards to our motions, please?
Yeah, I'm sorry for that unintended oversight on my part. DM or Mayor, do you wish to reply to the points raised by Councillor Davis on 3 motions which were submitted by their party in the previous council meeting, where they had proposed a committee that deals with water shortages? Which 2 other items are?
Mr. Speaker, we requested, our one motion is with regards to automated walk-in and online contact center. Then the second one you mentioned now, a steering committee for water crises, and then a third motion with regards to the improvement of indigent applications on a quarterly basis.
Okay. Okay. Councillor Dipale.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Just in support of the motions, we've also written so many motions of insourcing, one of the insourcing. Also on Rule 38, we have realized that on Rule 38, you're always addressing the Rule 38 of the DA, but we have written so many Rule 38 and none has ever been presented. So please, just look into it, because we've also written so many motions. I think we have about more than 10 that we've written, and none has ever come to the council. And even Rule 38 questions, they have never been addressed here. And today we're going to deal with Rule 38, and none of the EFF is in the agenda. It's wrong. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. We take note of what you have just submitted, Councillor Impale, as an addendum to the point raised by Councillor Davis. DM or Mayor?
Morning, colleagues. Thank you, Speaker. Let me indicate that the issues that are raised are currently and in fact in their nature administratively based. Safe to say, the city has organized a water indaba with all professionals in the metro to look into how best we can present ourselves in the eyes of where the resources are coming from through proposals and other means, including but not limited to water, also sanitations and other related service delivery matters. I think we need to be alive to where we come from as a metro, that we are under financial recovery plan, and that our resources are quite limited. So we need to reach out and utilize the best brain in the city to make sure that we access the resources wherever they are. That's the first part that I would like to raise. The second would be, I think it needs to be specific what questions that were put and that were not answered, because I want to believe that that administratively has been attended to, and those that are not attended to, we must be alive to. And I would like the colleagues to reach out to, not only at this level, but also at the level of the offices. Thank you.
Thank you. May I, as a rule, request the admin to provide a written reply to the questions or proposal made in relation to those three motions, so that at least we can keep and track progress on whatever that is submitted during the occasion of our sitting. However, I also am aware that most of the Rule 38 questions are honestly replied to. Although we do not, rules do not allow us to engage in a formal discussion on a Rule 38. But there's never been an instance where Rule 38 questions are not replied to. Let me hear you, Councillor.
Thank you, Speaker, for allowing me. With the greatest respect, don't mislead the public, the Auditor General, or this Council. Very few of our Rule 38 questions are answered. Thank you, Speaker.
No, I insist that the majority of Rule 38 questions are replied to. It may be that at a time when they are presented to Council, like I said, we do not have the opportunity to discuss the reply. Even on this attached agenda, may I ask for order, please? Even on this agenda, there is a reply to a Rule 38 question. Is it only one? Okay. Let me give you a benefit of doubt, councillors. No, I'm not recognizing you. Let's not make a dialogue. Let me give you a benefit of doubt. I will interact with the city manager to determine which of those outstanding Rule 38 questions have not been responded to, so that we come again. Okay. All right. Let me recognize Council Whip.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and I heard Councillor Mongale said Happy New Year. I think let me also say it, Councillor Mongale and all other councillors in the House. Happy New Year to all. Yeah, Speaker, I think you are correct. Through your office, we will have to make follow-up with the administration in order to check which are Rule 38 questions and all the motions that have been submitted so that we can follow up on those particular issues. But I also think that you have already summarized it properly by indicating that you would request the administration also to provide a written submission as to why the Rule 38 questions and the motions that have been submitted are taking time before they can be addressed. So I would request that we close it on that matter and then we'll deal with it as such. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Snyman, you are the last on this item.
Councillor Lucky. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. It is strange that you say that all questions are answered because we sent all our questions to you, to the Mayor and to the City Manager. And still we do not get answers, but we will provide you by Monday with a full list of our unanswered questions. Thank you, sir.
Noted. Councillor Mongale.
Honorable Speaker, Dr. Matai, I wanted to raise this issue to say we should not be having a lot of problems in this council if the whip of the council was performing its functions. Because part of the complaints, we could have addressed them in the whippery, and then these matters could not have been discussed here. That is what I'm saying. If whippery can function, there will be no tension in this council. That is my submission. But if he doesn't want to take it, it's up to him. The position will remain vacant up until he decides to fill the vacancy.
Let me take this two hands this side and I will conclude by the Executive Mayor. We really need to proceed to the next item, councillors. We have spent more than 30 minutes just on one simple item. Go ahead.
Motsamaisi wa dipuisano a ke nke maitshwaro a wa hantle ka tsela e hantle lemong sena. Ke phamisitse letsoho pele ho ba lekgotla ba babedi. O nghanetse ho bua wa ba fa ba bua. Haebe nna le wena re lwana lemong sena na o bue Ntate Mathai.
No, hauna ntongana morena. Adi bokwe. Councillor Hayes.
Ntate Mathai dumelang. Ka regalia ya hao e ntle ya ANC. Ne ke tlo phamisa le tsone. Ke fa ha o nthuza be ke fa Ntate Amatlama councillor Amatlama bue because ke bona e ka reng moya ka bogubedung ka mona o no sa gone o fofela o no fofela ka nkeng. So ne ke re fela hle re lokise le gona hona mono bothata bo le teng bo hlaloswe because go gopola bile re tshepa hore re na le matla a go ba khara kopano e nation ke a leboga.
Thank you. Majoro.
No, Speaker, I'm not coming to your rescue, but I want to just give a glaring example at the back there. When you look at where EFF is seated, there is a lady there by the name of Mariki from the newspaper. Glaringly, you can see her, and I think if she can raise her hand, you'll see that she's raising her hand. Now, your complexion, EFF, and the corridor where you are, it does make, and not by an inference or deliberate, it really does give a signage that somebody cannot see you. So I would propose that next time, maybe the EFF, if you can, bring them forward so that they must be on the line. Yeah. No. Leave. The older you become, the sharper you become. But Speaker, I want to take the Prof, Councillor Prof's take. That can everybody, not only can everybody who claims to have not been answered resubmit those questions so that we should see which of those questions that were not answered? You know, the unfortunate thing is that some of the answers don't come here, goes directly to processes. And I can attest, I do work with the administration to always test on whether or not some of the questions that were posed weren't answered. It's just that I can't remember them because I'm here. I didn't expect that the question would come that way. But can we get them and look at whether or not they were answered? And this is not for public, you know, I can see that sometimes when these Facebook things are here, we tend to go on each other. I just want to make sure that we are procedural in whatever we do.
Thank you.
Point of clarity?
This brings us to the end of the...
Point of clarity, Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that's why I love minutes. Go and look at the minutes of last year, 29th of January, on this same item, acceptance of the agenda. All of the parties here requested that our Rule 38 questions needs to be answered. And an email was sent to the city manager regarding 2 motions that was not tabled. But just for clarity, just go and look at the minutes. Thank you.
You are out of order, Councillor. I did not recognize you. This brings us to the end of the debates on this item. May I now, having taken consideration of all the proposals made, specifically on unanswered Rule 38 questions and the reply given, we will definitely follow this up, but it will be helpful if you can as well resubmit so that we can do some due diligence on the veracity of answered questions. I now want to step off this item and proceed to the next item. That item deals with announcements. Can I recognize hands? Councillor Tsoledi, Councillor Sokaka, Councillor Musala, Councillor De Bruin, in that order. Councillor Mungale, you'll be the last. Or Councillor Rampai.
Thank you very much, Speaker. And
Yes, I've noted you.
And compliments to all the councillors and the officials of Mangaung. Speaker, before I can make an announcement, I think I really need to commend you and the committee services for providing the sign language interpretation. To me, this is a milestone as a person who has a child who is deaf. This is very important that they should also be recognized in this council and be able to follow the proceedings of the council. Speaker, the Freedom Charter states that the doors of learning and culture should be open. I'm pleased to announce that the Department of Education has opened a new school in Langenwen Park. This project has been on hold for a long time due to resistance from people and parties who do not want to see diversity and inclusivity in our former white suburbs. Indeed, this is a milestone for the government because this will be the first school that has been built in former white suburbs post-democracy. We call upon people who have children in grade R up until grade 3 to come and register their children, as well as those who are in grade 8. Currently, those learners are housed in both St. Du Plessis and Lorry Park until the construction is complete. Honorable Speaker, the school is classified as a comprehensive school that will accommodate the demands of the evolving technologies. Thank you. Siyaqhuba.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Sokaka.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Happy New Year to everybody. Speaker, I'm going to firstly apologize to people of Mangaung on the issue of a water crisis that is seen in the city. However, I must indicate that the rain experienced in Lesotho have steer the salt in the system, which has caused high turbidity, in particular in Veldebacht, which is causing the dam to reduce its supply to 15%, which is a problem that we are working together with Val Central to try to attend to it as urgent as possible. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Sokaka. Councillor Msala.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm sure Councillor Mongali will be the happiest to receive the announcement that I'm about to make. Speaker, I must say one is honored to announce the long-awaited inaugural investment summit, which, where we will explore dynamic investment opportunities and connect with key industry leaders. The investment summit will be preceded by dinner with 34 embassies and their business chambers. The dinner will be sponsored by DERCO on the 18th of February 2025. And then the actual investment summit will be on the 19th and 20th of February 2025. A link to register will be publicized for those who have interest to form part of our investment summit. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. This brings us to the end of. Councillor Mongale.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Councillor Mongale, may I, in my order paper here, I have noted Councillor De Bruin. You will come just after him.
Yes, Speaker. I think 2025 just started and you guys are already. Salute. Yes, Speaker. You know, to be a ward councillor before was very nice. But now it's a privilege to be a PR councillor, because now I can move in any ward to go and observe what happened. I just want to bring it under your attention, Speaker. We are thankful for the library that you built in Ward 50, the new library that was costing our taxpayers 58 million rand. But that's standing now as a white elephant again, because that building was being built already a few months back, but it's just standing close, and our people need education. I'm not here to gain any political points for any party or from our party, but we are here to deal with wrongdoings in our metro. Secondly, I went and visited Tabanshu and Botshabelo. I never see a pit toilet from the time that I grew up in towns or in the white areas. So for me to sit every time in a pit toilet with a visit there, it's very unacceptable. So
Councillor De Bruin, let me take a point of order.
No, man. Come on, man.
May you sit down, Councillor?
Unfortunately, this is not a GNU arrangement. You are out of order, Councillor. Chair, the Councillor said when he started, your bias are already saying New Year. But he seems like he has taken a tangent. He's way out of line. Can he please sit down and recheck his notes?
Councillor, can you confine your statement to an announcement, please?
Sorry, Speaker, I see that young lady there. is want to be the speaker. So it look like I must give,
Okay.
I must
Okay.
ask you to give him your position. So it's time for that. So let me finish, speaker. No, we don't want
Okay,
to waste time here.
there's a point of order, Councillor De Bruin. Councillor Musala.
Speaker, I'm not sure if it's a point of order or a point of correction. I was an MMC responsible for community services when the library at Ward 50 was opened. That library is not a white elephant, it's still working. As a councillor within Mangaung, I still go to Ward 50 and I speak without doubt that that library is still working.
Okay, I noted Councillor Malebu. Yes.
Even though next up Samso is fine, Speaker, give us to understand how is it right for the MMC who are at Mamo about address and telling who are wrong already. Last time I checked, was still on the item here announcement the speak. Kiruna about the toilet and the library and then high sally. Can we please be taken serious, speak? We're not here to play. Iteming, the announcement. Please take charge of your house, speaker. As a belief.
Councillor De Bruin, may I allow you to complete your statement? As I said, can you confine your statement to an announcement?
You know, speaker, this is early in the year. I don't like to fight because let me leave it here because I don't have time for fight. Thank you.
No, thank you, Councillor De Bruin. By the way, Councillor De Bruin, I have received a correspondence from your party. You are now the new whip. To whom much is given, much is required. With greater promotion, there comes greater responsibilities. Congratulations. I had noted Councillor Mongale. May you go ahead?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Dr. Matai, I'm happy that the investment summit is coming. I'm excited about it. And I think the people of Mangaung are more excited, more than me, because of the opportunity that comes with it. The announcement that we want to make, it is of the Sankofa movement, the Sankorians, the party that is finishing 6 years, which is the African Alliance of Social Democrats that finished 6 years on the 16th of January this month. Now, I know when I speak Sankofa, people will think that I'm speaking a foreign language. Maybe I'm swearing, I must correct it. Sankofa means going back, to take back what is rightfully yours. Going back to go and reclaim what is rightfully yours. Now, part of what is rightfully ours, it is the services that we must receive in Mangaung, and also the dignity of the people of Mangaung, and also bringing back Siwelele as part of Sankofa. Now, African Alliance of Social Democrats would like to thank the people of Mangaung and other relevant towns for supporting them in giving them 2 seats in the 2021 election, and we hope that they have not lost confidence in us, but they have regained confidence and they don't doubt the 2 seats that they have given us, and they will continue to support us and work together with us in a joint program, as we have said to them that we are not an organization that leads the community, but we are an organization that serves. We are saving humanity. We are a party that never elect a person, but the person must go through a crucible process, like Hauta Haichiswamolo. Is then that you are qualified to be a leader. So As African Alliance of Social Democrats, we would like to humbly thank the people of Mangaung and also say to them, happy birthday to yourself, because this party is for you. We say Sankofa to you, and we'll also Sankofa everything that Mangaung people needs to get in our lifetime. And we know people think the elections will be on 2026. No, the right date is February 2027. Someone who announced the election of 2021 has announced the elections of 2027 February. I know you'll call me to order. I will not object to being called to order. I'll just tell you in 2027 February that I told you so, like I always say.
Thank you. I think this brings us to the end of announcements. Councillor De Hayes, I did not note you under announcement.
Speaker, you are correct. Can we just, please? Can Councillor De Bruin withdraw what he said to Councillor Ramatama? We don't have ladies in this council. We are honorable councillors of this council. Can he please, with due respect, withdraw that word that he said, because the community is watching of Mangaung. Please withdraw that, Chief. Logan, you need a prayer in your word.
Yeah, Councillor De Bruin.
Yes, Speaker, I withdraw.
Thank you, Councillor. The last announcement that I want to make is that the Demarcation Board of South Africa has been in contact with us. Very soon they will undertake a process of public participation within our area of jurisdiction in order to enable communities to make their suggestions on municipal boundaries, the delimitation of outer municipal boundaries. We will extend this invite to all parties represented in the council, but we'll also notify councillors about this program to consult with communities so that at least you involve your constituencies whenever that program is implemented. So please be ready, councillors. I know that in the past, some councillors had some complaints about the size of their wards. Some VDs seem to be overlapping to another VD. That you will find the right platform when the demarcation board comes to the region, so that communities can make their suggestions with a view to reconfigure our municipal boundaries and ward delimitation. I want to step off this item and proceed to the next item, which is motions of sympathy and congratulations. Can I observe hands? Councillor Sokaka, Councillor Letawana, Councillor Mungale, Councillor Rampai, are you raising your hand, Councillor Malepa? Okay. Councillor Malebu and Councillor Ramile, you'll be the last. In that order, Councillor Sokaka.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I would like also to congratulate the President of the Republic for signing into law the Bella Act, which the Bella Act itself, it will be able to correct some of the things that are at our Schools Act, your language policies of schools, admission policies, and other objectives which are discriminating against the fellow learners and so on. Secondly, the Ex-Appropriation Act, Bill, that has been signed into law which repeals 1975 Act of Expropriation. For this bill is for the public use, not necessarily for any other thing that may be misinterpreted to the public. But also congratulate the agreement between Israel and Hamas on ceasefire. It has been our call for peaceful solution in respect of humanity, because we believe that the war in Gaza really has created serious problems for the people of Palestine, as they were killed in hospital, children, and so on. So this ceasefire, we are celebrating it as South Africa because we believe it is a correct move. But also, I must, Speaker, we bow our heads and salute the bravery of the soldiers, South African soldiers that has been killed in DRC, whom their role really was to bring peace and stability in the region, because we believe that guns must be silenced. Anything does not need to be violent to be resolved. We need peaceful solutions. It is unfortunate what happened there, but many people in the public domain, they are playing around with that situation as if there are no humans, fellow humans, that has passed on. We are calling upon all of us to respect the families and the country for the bravery of the soldiers. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Ltawan.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The leadership of this council, all councillors present, the community of Mangaung, good morning. Speaker, in case, let me just put that right there, in case I exceed my time, consider that time, the extra time borrowed from Councillor Mongale, as I realize that this time is like the hand is not up. So I consider there's already that arrangement between myself and him. Speaker, we are from a very hectic period of festive where we have seen a number of road safety campaigns across the country, in the province as well as in the city. And we can report today that there were successes that were reported during the period under review, as well as the sad news, as there are some families that lost their loved ones during the period, 1 December to 11 January, as per the report. The road crashes statistics shows that there was a decrease of 1.1% recorded, while fatalities decreased by 0.5%. Where in the province, the Free State, we have seen a highest decrease with regard to fatal crashes, which was less than 13. It is disappointing at the same time to indicate and report that in the report provided, we have seen that the drivers recorded in the age range 25 to 39 of years, which is a group that is referred to as the future leaders, is one of those that is not impressing in terms of the statistics that is recorded. Speaker, let me also indicate that the number of incidents that took place in our famous road, which is our N8, we have seen also a sharp decrease in terms of incidents that took place in that road, as well as the other roads in the city. And we wish to take this opportunity to send our condolences to all the affected families that lost the loved ones during the period under review. On the other side, let me take this opportunity on behalf of the African National Congress to applaud the excellent performance of the matric class of 2024 for achieving a remarkable 91% pass rate, which is a significant improvement from the 89% that was recorded in 2023. In believing that education is a societal issue, the results demonstrate a concerted effort of a leadership of the Department of Education led by Dr. Mamiki Mabuya and HOD Malakwane, all the educators as well as the learners alike, the SGBs, and all stakeholders in the field of education. You are simply the best. As is famously realized during the beginning of 2025, may I also join those by indicating that we are also supporting that in 2025, we are saying education maroon. And we say to them that they should continue to make the Free State shine, and as well as the city, which is the Mangaung. And while on the celebratory mood, Speaker, let me also congratulate the biggest political party in the continent, the African National Congress, by celebrating its 113 years of anniversary, which the event thereof took place in Cape Town, Khayelitsha. We celebrated there with the masses of our people under the theme, the year of renewal to make ANC a more effective instrument of the people to achieve the vision of the Freedom Charter. As the ANC, we observe the 70th anniversary of the Freedom Charter, a document that serves as a policy blueprint for the society that we seek to create. It is this policy framework that inspired...
Thank you, Councillor, your time is up.
Speaker, like I indicated, the rest I was going to borrow from Councillor Mungai. Speaker, as we start, as I conclude, as we start 2025, may I call upon all of us to dedicate it to defeat any service delivery challenges in the spirit of the Freedom Charter, any service delivery challenges in the city, and together, Councillor Mongale, we can improve and we have the ability to can respond to the needs of our community and create a better Mangaung. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Mongale.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Dr. Matai. Although today you don't look nice like the way you used to look, I don't like what I see on your neck there. Even the color of your shirt, I don't like it. Now, on a serious note, I need to pay tribute to this son of the soil, Godfrey Opa Spuka Sikonam Shanje Mukakatledi, who passed on this week and will be buried tomorrow. He's a guy who came here in Bloemfontein as a young guy, and then he went to school to Moemedi, and he became the most feared midfielder of our time. He was one of the electrified midfielders. I wanted to show you the picture of the people that plays like him. I've tried to look for them in South Africa. I struggled to find them, except maybe to give you a little bit of reference of players like Sibia that used to play for Celtic. He might be the one that looks like, or Obrima Khopela. This is the kind of midfielder he was. Spuka Asikonam Shanje, who used to go to school in Moemedi. He happened to share the school with the executive mayor and myself. he played for Tigers. And at Tigers, he played with the likes of one of the employees of the municipality, General Shalele, who is working at solid waste. And then he played for Free State Stars. He played with great players like Maputi and others as a youngster. And nobody could forget the contribution of Godfrey Mokakatledi, from born from Kronstadt, but he spent his entire life living in Bloemfontein. He is now the son of Mangaung. He also went back to Tigers to go and finish his career there. And then he worked at Coca-Cola. That is the last place where he worked before he surrendered to death due to complications. But we would like to say, as African Alliance of Social Democrats, to say, Spuka asiko namhlanje, even though it is said that you are no more here, but we always believe that you are a great player and you were great, and we made our schooling at Moemedi fantastic because we enjoyed going to school, knowing that Moemedi is going to dominate other teams, the great teams like Sunelo, Kailang, Ikaelelo, those were great. But when Spuka was in the field, everybody knew that there is a surprise package. He's going to surprise all of us. Moemedi people, remember you used to call us Dinotsi. Then we come with that noise of Dinotsi, knowing that Spuka has caught from nowhere. Now, this is the guy that we celebrate under the leadership of James Jimili Tuka, who was the principal at that time. And we would like to pay tribute to this son of the soil. We say, you may be gone, but you'll never be forgotten. I know I've borrowed from Paul Hardcastle. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Rampai.
Thank you, Dr. Matai. Let me start by saying that except the Lord to build the house, the labor is in vain. That built it. Except Jehovah keep the city, the watchman waketh, but in vain. Speaker, the ACDP in Mangaung wishes to congratulate the matric of Mangaung, especially those who of the Free State province, for doing the best during the matric exam of 2024. I think because now last year, the class of 2024, movement in DD Haute. They have shown that the talent in the country lies in the hidden in the Free State province. We wish them all prosperous career and pray that all of them may further their studies and successfully find a suitable job. Dr. Matai, the ACDP will pass the condolence for the 3 learners of Dr. Philogen School who have lost their life and others who was critically injured at the Aljos intersection. Be as a reference, we know that it is a difficult time for all the families and the families of the school. On behalf of the ACDP, we extend our deepest sympathy and family involved as well of the school. Thank you, Dr. Matai.
Thank you, Councillor Rampai. Councillor Malebu.
Ke a leboha motsamaisi wa dipuisano. E re ke qala ka ho lebohisa mokgatlo wa AASD ka dilemo tse tsheletseng tseo ba di tshwereng. Ke re ho bona speaker ba ke ba ye di-conferenceng bona le bo Action SA le bo PA kaofela ba se kene batla fela ba ntse batla ba re ba tshwara dilemo tse itseng empa ba sa ye di-conferenceng. Ke lebohise hape motsamaisi wa dipuisano mo lekgotla Councillor Makau lenyalong la hae wena motsamaisi wa dipuisano o sa tswa nyala haufinyana ra mo lebohisa re re ho yena welcome to the real world. We gather to pay, Speaker, our respects and offer our deepest condolences to the family and loved ones of our brave soldiers who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Our soldiers were deployed in the DRC as part of the United Nations peacekeeping mission. with the noble goal of bringing peace and stability to a region ravaged by conflict between rebels M23 and the Rwandan Army Force. We mourn the loss of these brave men and women who have given their lives in service to our nation and to the people of DRC. We remember their courage, their dedication, and their selflessness. We honor their memory and we pledge to continue their work to bring peace and stability to our region. However, we cannot ignore the concerns raised by the EFF regarding the capacity of South African National Defence Force under the leadership of Minister Njimus Hega. The EFF has repeatedly called for accountability from the department and the governing party. Furthermore, the president of the EFF has been vocal about the President Ramaphosa's handling of the situation, stating that it was irresponsible of him not to withdraw our soldiers from DRC. The President Commander-in-Chief has emphasized that our soldiers are ill-equipped to handle the complex situation in the DRC, and that their deployment is a mere public relation exercise. To make things worse, Minister Njimus Hega was summoned to appear before the Parliamentary Committee this week to answer the questions about the situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo, particularly regarding the South African National Defence Force deployment in the region. The Economic Freedom Fighters had requested her presence to provide clarity on the matter. But instead of providing the satisfactory answers, she allegedly abandoned the committee, sparking concerns about transparency and accountability. She otherwise postponed to the 18th of February to demonstrate how leaders of this government are treating things with agency, with no care at all. We cannot ignore these concerns, and we must demand answers from our government. How can we ensure that our soldiers are properly trained and equipped to handle the challenges they face in the DRC? How can we hold our government accountable for the deployment of our soldiers and for the loss of lives that has occurred? As we move forward, Speaker, we must prioritize the safety and well-being of our soldiers, and we must ensure that their deployment is guided by a clear and achievable mandate. We owe it to our soldiers and to the people of DRC to get this right. In closing, let us remember the words of Nelson Mandela, who said, open quote, "The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall," close quote. Let us rise to the challenge of honoring our fallen soldiers by continuing their work and by striving for a more peaceful and stable world. May their memories be a blessing to us all. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Councillor Ramile, you are the last.
Regular Speaker, good medicine Majoro, good medicine Lento Yotle, Eka, Bagadi Tulo Tatlaman. But Ancharella, Speaker Mohotan Uncherigadi Washini. Kitole Gakunam Kutsani Marnakwaka, Webele, Nagtatakilata. All right, Speaker, our heartfelt condolences goes out to the family that encountered the tragic accident on N8, Friday, January the 24th. We extend our deepest sympathy for the loss of the children. Ryan Smith was 6 years old, his brother Aiden, 8 years, and their niece Leanne van Poppendorp, 8 years also. Not forgetting Unalerona Muthodi, 28 years old, who resided at Tabanchu, Mukwena location. She also lost her life in a tragic accident. Our thoughts are with the families during this incredible difficult time. The DA will also like to extend the deepest heartfelt condolences to the families of the SNDF members who lost their lives during the attack by M23 in DRC. May their families find peace and comfort. We would like to also congratulate the Free State Matric class of 2024 for being the best once again, and may all matrics in South Africa achieve success in their future endeavors.
The DA also wishes the newly appointed coach staff or the Free State Cheetahs all the best of luck. All of the respected Springbok and World Cup winners, let's continue to bring the glory home. We also want to congratulate Bafana Bafana for also making their way into the AFCON. We say congratulations, boys. And not forgetting to pray and hope for Bloemfontein Celtic Football Club for them to at least bring back their jerseys back to the Betway Premiership. Siwelele Samasele, we are behind you. I know Mayor will take interest in this matter. In closing, Speaker, I would like to congratulate and applaud the DA leadership for standing firm and true to the cause of rescuing South Africa and building a better future, and not rolling out to the ANC's failed policies of the past 30 years. South Africa needs functional, respectful coalition that delivers real solution for our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This brings us to the end of statements on motions of sympathy and congratulations. We now move on to item 7, which deals with confirmation of minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes. The first is a special meeting of the 5th of July 2024, initially scheduled for the 4th July 2024. The second is ordinary meeting held on the 31st July 2024. And lastly, a special meeting held on the 30th of August 2024. Can I see a mover for the confirmation of those minutes? Any mover for the confirmation of the first set of minutes? Councillor Jonas.
I move for the adoption, thank you, Speaker, of the minutes.
Seconder. Councillor Mungale.
No, I second confirmation of the minutes.
Can I now see a second hand for the second set of minutes, the ordinary meeting of the 31st July 2024? Any mover? Council Whip?
I move, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Sfaki.
No, thank you very much, Speaker. I move. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Mongale.
No, I second the minutes.
Thank you. Can I now see hands for the last set of minutes, special meeting, 30th August 2024? Councillor Sfaki.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I move for the adoption of the minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Setlu.
Thank you, Speaker. I move for seconding the move for the adoption.
May I, by show of hands, establish if all of you are in agreement with the proposal to adopt the 3 sets of minutes? Thank you very much, councillors. The minutes are confirmed as such. I now want to step off this item and proceed to item 8, declaration of interest. That item has been dealt with administratively. We are now going to proceed to item number 9, which is the presentation by the Auditor General on the annual reports for Mangaung Metropolitan Municipality and Sentlek for 2023-2024 financial year. AG, I will now allow you the opportunity to present before this August House the item as outlined in our agenda.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The Executive Mayor, the Deputy Executive Mayor, the members of the Mayoral Committee, Honorable Councillors, the officials, as well as the ladies and gentlemen. I also want to say good morning and also to say compliments of the new year. And I trust that 2025 will be a good year characterized by enhanced governance and oversight by this council to the best interest of the citizens of Mangaung. I want to first appreciate the honor that you gave us to come and present to this open council the outcomes of the consolidated audit outcomes of Mangaung Metro, together with its entity, which is Sentlek. Also, I really want to commend the officials, the leadership of Mangaung, together with the team for their tireless working of making sure that today we are able to make sure that we comply with the legislation of tabling the annual report within the legislated time frame, of which this is something, Honorable Speaker, that has been a challenge for this municipality for a number of years, that we've been tabling our report very late. I'll introduce myself. My name is Otto Duda. I'm the business unit leader responsible for the Free State Province. I've got the team with me. Next to me is Bukas Boshoff. He was the manager on the job. And then we've got Ndombi Koboshiane, she was the assistant manager, as well as Natalie Marie. They were the team that was leading, the team that was auditing the Mangaung Metro. I want to emphasize and mention it on record, Speaker, Honorable Speaker, that these outcomes, there was quite a lot of extensive engagement that took place between the audit team with the leadership of the institution. We had quite a number of engagements with the leadership, that is the HODs led by the city manager, to ensure that we reach the conclusion and accept the findings that the team have been identified and the observation they made during the audit. We even took it further, Honorable Speaker, that we also have engagements with the Mayoral Committee, where we presented these outcomes, and we also engage the MPEG as well on these outcomes. So I'm confident to stand here and present these outcomes because of the process that was fair and objective to ensure that the conclusions and the opinion that we express in the financial statements that we audited is the fair representation of the affairs of the municipality. So if we go to, I see that I think we are dependent on the hard copies. I don't see projection, so I'll just mention as I go through the slides. So if we go to the first slide, that is slide number 2. It is our vision and the mission, and what is important as our mission is the fact that for a number of years, we've been consistent with this mission because we believe that the role that we are playing as the Office of the Auditor General through the audit that we conduct, we are able to enable the oversight, to enable accountability and governance in the public sector. And our vision is very clear that we ensure that the work that we do, we continuously make sure that we are relevant so that it can speak to the lived reality of the citizens of the city of Mangaung. The next slide, we highlighting that we, as the Office of the Auditor General in South Africa, we are not working in Ireland. We are working also together with the International Organization of Supreme Audit Institutions, which is the Auditor Generals globally. And those Auditor Generals globally, they subscribe to the principle of P12, if you're looking at this slide. And this slide, the main philosophy around about this slide is to ensure that the audit that we conduct in the government entities, it should have a positive impact on the trust of the society. And we are driving that through the 3 pillars. If you're looking at the slide, there are 3 critical pillars there, and that is that is driving the work, how we perform our work, so that we are able to make the difference to the lives of the citizens. Which those 3 pillars, the first one is the one that is talking about strengthening the accountability, transparency, and integrity of government and the public sector entities. The second pillar deal with, as the Supreme Audit Institution ourselves, we should be able to be being a model, and we must be able to model our own organization through by leading by example. So I think one of the things that we are proud of, the things that we do, we're not theorizing about the issues of the clean audit. Us as the Supreme Audit Institution, we don't take anything less than the clean audit in terms of our audits that is conducted. We also ensure that the people that we appoint the people that are competent, that have the know-how and the skills, so that the work that they do is going to translate in supporting the public sector entities to be able to shift the culture so that we are able to improve the lives of our citizens. And the last pillar talk about the demonstrating ongoing relevance to citizens, parliament, and other stakeholders. And this is the work that we do to ensure that we don't just only audit and leave, but the insights that we generate, we share those insights with all the role players that are going to be able to use those insights to fulfill their responsibilities so that we can see the improvement in the lived experience of our citizens. And what is key is that insight, it must be the insights that are relevant. I cannot table the report that says all is well in Mangaung, but the citizens of Mangaung are experiencing something totally different. So there must be always that relevance on the work that we do. And in the center is the fact that we want to make the difference to the lives of the citizens. That is the work that we conduct. So if we go to the next slide, because the slide that I was speaking to, it was the slide that was developed for the Supreme Audit Institutions globally. So if I'm looking to the next slide, slide 4, it speaks directly to how do we translate, as the Auditor General of South Africa, the aspirations of the global institutions of the Supreme Audit Institutions. So as the Auditor General of South Africa, we developed our own strategy. And this strategy is the strategy that we are striving to achieve this strategy by 2030. And you can see there, we said what we aspire, we want to have a strong, more direct and consistent impact on improving the lived reality of the South Africans. And we do that by ensuring that the objectives that we put in our strategies, the objectives that are going to take us to realize this aspiration that we have. And these 3 objectives is to ensure that when we perform our audit, we perform our audit in a manner that we are able to gather the right insights, that we are going to use those insights to interact with all the role players that are in the accountability ecosystem of local government, so that everybody can be able to fulfill their role, and so that we can be able to shift the culture from doing harm to doing good. We also have the objective that talk about the influence, which is those impactful engagements. So we expect our teams that they will have those engagements. Hensha mentioned that even before we come to this council, there was a lot of engagements that took place with the leadership of the institution as well as the mayoral committee and MPEC, because we want to make sure that we use this influence, these insights to influence them in directing the role that they are going to be played to be able to improve the outcome of the institution. I think as we're well aware of that, as from 2019, we were given the extended powers because of the lack of consequences around the country, which is the consequences that give us the enforcement powers, that in the event that the accounting officers are not fulfilling their responsibilities for consequences, we are actually in sharing them the insights, we give them the spice that they need to do them, and in the event that they're not doing them, then we start implementing those powers. Maybe at a high level, I'll just remind you, some of those powers is for us that the recommendations that we give, they don't just stay as the recommendation. We take them to the next level when they are not implemented, where they become remedial action, where the officials have to implement those recommendations. And also those powers, they also give us the power that we can refer some of these matters to the other public bodies for further investigation. So we've got quite a lot of memorandum of understanding that we have with the Hawks, with SAPS, with SIU, public protectors, all the public entities that we believe that they've got a mandate that can be able to assist government so that we can bring in the discipline that is expected as according to the Constitution. So leading to the Constitution, because what the Constitution really requires, if you're looking at, I think it's section 195 of the Constitution, it talks about the public sector culture, which is the public sector culture which should be characterized by good performance, characterized by accountability, transparency, as well as the institutional integrity. So our strategy, the work that we do, we continuously align ourselves to what is the aspirations of the Constitution. Are we working towards ensuring that we influence good and better performance in the public institutions? Are we driving the issues of accountability, which I think this is what we are doing even today. That is why we are presenting to the council so that the council is able to take the insights and the observations that we've made during the audit so that you can start to hold the officials accountable. And the issues of transparency that the citizens should know. That is why the annual report became a public document, and also that is why even the council today is open to the public so that the public knows what is the outcome of the audit that we performed. And lastly, the issue around about the institutional integrity, where we need to make sure that we implement the consequences for poor performance as well as the lack of performance so that we are able to have the public sector that is drive the service delivery. So if you're looking at also at our strategy, you'll see there's a table that has different blocks where it's talking about doing harm up to doing good. So this is what we developed, where we want to come up with a baseline of where our audit is lying in terms of providing the services to the citizens between doing harm and doing good. And we believe that if our auditees continue to move away towards the right, move away from doing harm, but move towards doing good, we believe that it will result in our auditees to be developmental and have an impact to the society so that we are able to improve the lives. So this quadrant, the continuum that we have, which had the criteria that indicates to the leadership, what are the things that you need to do so that you are able to move away from doing harm to do good, and by that movement also to be able to link to say what impact are we making to the citizens? Are we developmental to the citizens by making sure that we improve the service delivery? So if we move to slide 5, is the criteria that I was talking about. This is the criteria that we are using, and we are looking at 4 areas. We are looking at the performance of the public sector institutions in terms of financial management. How do they perform in managing the finances? How do they perform in terms of the service delivery that is provided to the citizens, looking at what has been promised as part of the IDP and what has been actually been delivered to those citizens. And you'll see in the presentation that my colleague is going to do later, we'll speak to that so that you can see what we promised and what we delivered. We're also looking at the compliance, and also the last one, we're looking at the ethics, fraud, and the responsiveness. Unfortunately, where we are sitting currently with Mangaung, we are sitting at the bottom block. We are sitting at the block of doing harm. And the main drivers for that, if you're looking at the criteria that we have, is because of the material irregularities that we issued relating to the financial management. When it comes to the service delivery on the auditing of performance information, because of the lack of documentation, we have to disclaim the opinion there, which is the reason why we are saying that they are doing harm, because they are unable to come and present to this council to say, you gave us the mandate, you gave us the budget to go and spend to fulfill these objectives, but they are unable to report back to say this is how they performed. And also we had material irregularities that we issued because of the substantial harm that the municipality is causing to the general public, which is mainly through the wastewater treatment works and so on. And also on the compliance with laws and regulations, the issues that we have around about the procurement and contract management. And lastly, the last pillar, which is talking about the ethics, fraud, and responsiveness, is some of the material irregularities that we issued, which are sitting at a remedial action, which means the time and space that we give to the accounting officer did not utilize to make sure that we implement the necessary consequences, and also the findings that we have around irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure. But if you're looking at this, what we aspire, because that is where we want to see Mangaung. Mangaung is taking quite a lot of big chunk in terms of the budget in the province and the metro, because this is the only metro, and also at the same time is serving the most number of citizens in the province. So we are working very hard with management, and more especially understanding the baseline of where we are, what are the things that we need to work towards so that we go towards the good government, doing good. And you can see, if you're sitting in that category of doing good, under financial management, you should be able to have a good financial health. That means the finances of the municipality should be sustainable. You must be able to have a correlation between the achievement of the targets and as well as the use of the budget by the institution. Under the service delivery, they need to ensure that all key performance targets are achieved. Good performance is evidenced from reliable public availability information. Because what we started to do as part of looking at the accountability ecosystem is not only just to rely on working with the leadership of the institution, but to hear what the citizens are saying. Hence, we started to build relationship with the service organizations like Asivikelani, which is the one that is very active in this area, so that we can get the feedback if what are the citizens saying about the services that are getting from Mangaung. That then there must be no findings on compliance around with ethics, fraud, and responsiveness, that there must be strong institutional ethical culture. Controls, they must be there to prevent fraud and corruption. And also there must be no findings that the consequences are not implemented. So this is the ideal position that we want to see most of our auditees sitting there. And we believe that with the resources that Mangaung has, it is doable that we can get there. If we can get just the right people on the jobs, and also we get the council to do their job of performing the oversight support the officials to make sure that they achieve their objectives. And before I move on this slide, I think what is key, because one of the things that usually become very sharply to say, but we're not eating the clean audit. But what we observed is that the auditees that are clean audit are basically doing the basics. So you can see the category that is yellow. So if you've got your basics right, you are going to be able to have a clean audit. But for you to be able to have an impact and have improved the lives of the citizens, you need to do more than that. Hence this continuum that we develop, and we're working together with management to make sure that we realize. And then the next slide, we sat back and look at what are the things that are important in terms of the responsibilities of the council, as well as the oversight that needs to happen, so that we are continuously put check to what the officials are doing, so that we are able to improve the service delivery, to improve the lived experience of our citizens. So we came up with this approach, which we are calling it a power of 5. That is why you've got this 5 hand, which has got 5 fingers. So it's called the power of 5. And again, is linked again to the aspirations of the Constitution, which says the public sector culture should be characterized by good performance, accountability, transparency, as well as in the institutional integrity. So the key things that we're looking at, what are the accountability instruments that are available that should be utilized? And what is the role that the council is playing to ensure that we are using those instruments? So if you look, for example, under the reporting by the municipal mayor and by the municipal manager as well as the mayor, is the importance of the Section 71 and 72 reports. I saw, fortunately, they are in the report, in the agenda for today. But what do we do about them? Do we just table them for compliance, or do we table them so that we are able to come up with the decisions as this council that is going to provide a strategic direction for the institution to be able to improve the service delivery? Then we talk about also once those reports are submitted, does the mayor prepare the Section 54, where they're looking at the budget controls, so that we are early identify if there's any financial problems that we have, so that if there's any interventions that we need to put in place, so that we put those interventions on time. So you can see that these actions that are there, we continuously keep on linking them back to what the Constitution requires. So if we're looking also on the oversight block, where we're referring to the Section 131 of the report that needs to be developed on the issues that are raised by the Auditor General, to say these are the findings that have raised. This is how the steps that you're going to take to ensure that you prevent the recurrence. But the experience that we have, irrespective of the findings that we issue, the recommendations that we issue, we keep on picking up the same findings year on year. And you ask yourself, what are we doing with these reports that needs to be prepared by the mayor and the MEC? Also, we also highlighting the importance of the Section 132 report, which is the one that needs to be submitted to the provincial legislature on the annual report and the oversight report. So there's quite a lot of instruments that are available for us to ensure that the oversight is continuously under check to make sure that we don't get any surprises. And then on the reporting tab is Section 47, which is the report by the MEC on the performance and the accountability, which is one of the report that we are struggling to get. That is the report that is not prepared. Then under the intervention is what the legislation requires us to do to make sure that when the performance is not at an expected level, those are the prescripts that tell us, for example, Section 133, which is talking about the consequence of non-compliance with certain provisions. Are we utilizing those provisions? Are we utilizing effectively the Section 139, where we have to have the intervention, either the intervention by provincial or the national government so that we are able to support the municipalities to improve their performance. And what do we do about those? Is the thing that we are all continuously putting under check to ensure that we derive the value out of them, or we just tick the box that it was done. And then lastly, also the issue around about the financial recovery plan, which I know Mangaung is one of those municipalities that is under that. What impact are we making it? Are we utilizing that financial recovery plan so that we improve the finances of Mangaung so that we are able to improve service delivery? And then the last part, which is talking about ensuring that we are clear to the officials what is the expected performance from them. And that is, we can do it through making sure that we sign the performance agreements. And the legislation even requires even to go an extra mile to say, don't just leave it there, make sure those performance agreements are published for the consumption of the public, because we're talking about the public sector that needs to be transparent on the work that we do. On the next slide, I think it's just a reflection. I won't go into detail to it, but I must say that there are some pockets of the things that we do as part of this Power of Five. There are some areas that are very concerning that we are not performing, with the result that our performance as Mangaung, we are not improving at the level where we should be. Mangaung should not be sitting at the opinion that we are presenting today, which is similar as the opinion of the other small local municipalities or district municipalities. There's quite a lot of things that we have as the metro, which these smaller municipalities, they don't have. And I believe that my team is forever available to support the leadership, share the insights as to how far are we in progressing in implementing these things that are expected from us. So I won't go into detail on that one. I know the team, they went into much detail with the mayoral committee, with the leadership as to how do we assess the municipality against the Power of Five. But I think for the consumption of the councillors, you can read in your own space. And then the last slide I'll speak to before I hand over to my colleague to bring in the details exactly of the audit outcomes that we perform for the Mangaung, is this slide, which is the accountability ecosystem. In this slide, we're bringing in all the role players that needs to play a role. And each and every role player in this diagram is got a different role to play. And coming together, they are able to complement each other, so that if we're putting our effort together, we are able to achieve these aspirations of what the local government should deliver. And I must mention that I'm excited. One of the things that I always keep on emphasizing, which worries me, is a lot of investment that we put in as the institution to have the internal audit units, to have the audit committee units, bring in the expert to come and advise them, but we're not utilizing them. And I'm happy to see that the chair of the audit committee is part of this council, so that is able to give the first hand, because this council should be demanding from the audit committee to get the reports from them, so that you get an independent view of the reports that are tabled by management. And the internal audit and the audit committee, they are here with the officials throughout the year, unlike the external auditors that we only come at the end of the financial year. So I'm going to end here. Maybe the last part is a lot of work that we do to support local government, where we started to have a deep dive on the role that is played by the coordinating department. So we dig deeper to say, Office of the Premier, what is the role that you do to support local government, cooperative governance, as well as treasuries? Is the interventions that you put in, does it make an impact, or just we tick a box? So those are the work that we do to make sure that we're not looking at local government in isolation of what provincial or national government is doing, but to integrate that so that we are able to see the improvement in the audit outcome. I'm going to hand over to Bukas just to take us through on the details of the outcome of the consolidated as well as Sentlek. Thank you very much.
Honourable Speaker, Honourable Mayor, Deputy Mayor, members of MACO, councillors, City Manager, HODs, and the public at large, good morning. As indicated, my name is Beerkus Boshoff. I was the audit manager responsible for the 23-24 audit cycle, and it's a privilege for me today to stand here in front of you and present the outcomes of those audits. Councillors, on slide number 9, you'll indicate or you'll identify the 5-year audit outcomes that's been shared there in the past 3 financial years as well as the current financial year. The municipality or the consolidated institution, including Sentlek, has received a qualified audit opinion, and the qualification audit opinion is as a result of the overtime payments made in terms of employee costs, which could not be substantiated, specifically when it comes to whether, firstly, a need was established for overtime to be worked, and once it has been worked, whether those hours has been confirmed before the payment is being processed. So while there is a decrease in terms of the number of qualification paragraphs, you'll recall in the prior year we had 3 qualification areas. In the current year, there is 1 qualification area, as I mentioned. The audit outcome does remain volatile at this stage. There requires a lot of audit effort from our end in order to substantiate certain transactions, to get the information that we require, to ensure that what we publish in our financial statements and annual performance reports is in fact a true reflection. On slide number 10, as I indicated, this is our qualification area, and the root cause is that we do not have an approved overtime policy or a standard operating procedure per user directorate. Overtime may be necessary, but the processes that we have in place are letting us down, and this is where the critical intervention is required. We need to ensure, councillors, that there is monthly and daily processing of overtime transactions. As I indicated, to ensure, firstly, the need for overtime is confirmed and approved, as well as the hours that's being claimed is actually being worked. If we continue then to slide number 11, this is where we highlight our findings on the annual performance information. Of course, as councillors would know, this is where the municipality reports back to oversight and to the community how the municipality has performed in terms of service delivery during the financial year. Unfortunately, the municipality has continued to receive a disclaimer opinion on the performance information, and I expand a bit on this slide for the reasons for this disclaimer. For point number 1, not all our indicators within the SDBIP or IDP are well defined so that it can be measured properly and consistently, and key functioning areas within the municipality are not always recorded as indicators in the annual performance report, which begs the question whether it has been monitored, measured, and or implemented. It's critical, councillors, that all our needs of the community is included in our annual performance report and measured and monitored against budget spending, as the current state of it could lead to increased community dissatisfaction when it comes to service delivery. On point number 2, the audit evidence that we obtained or could not obtain in this case could not support the actual achievement that has been recorded in the annual performance report, as well as material differences that we identify compared to the actual achievement that's been reported. In point number 3, the quality of our performance report, unfortunately, before and after the audit, much remains to be desired, as there continues to be material findings. I think one of the important matters on this slide is point number 4 when it comes to impact, and councillors would note that 45% of our service delivery targets were achieved. However, 111% of our budget was spent. So there is a misalignment between what we achieve as a municipality and how our budget is being spent. As I indicated previously, this does have a negative impact on council and oversight bodies, especially when decisions has to be taken based on annual performance report, based on performance information that's being shared, as it might not be a reliable source on which decisions can be taken as a result of the disclaimer in opinion. On slide number 12 and 13, we highlight a couple of key service delivery targets, key service delivery areas that unfortunately was not achieved during the year under review. Councillors would note in the far right-hand column that all of these are reported as 0% achievements or non-achievements. And some of the indicators or targets that we plan to achieve relate to the core functions of the municipality, specifically the provisioning of roads, water treatment capacity being implemented and enriched, delivering of sewage-related services to individual households, as well as number of households in informal settlements provided with water. Unfortunately, councillors, as reported in the annual performance report, there is 0 or none achievement for some of these key service delivery areas. If I can continue then to slide 14, I believe it's 14, 15 and 16, which I will deal with the non-compliance areas, where we also identified various instances of material non-compliance. Councillors would note in the previous financial year or cycle under audit, there were 28 instances of non-compliance. In the year under review, 23-24, there were 30 instances of non-compliance we identified. Also important to note that we cannot look at all non-compliance areas. We do limit the non-compliance or legislative areas we believe has a detrimental impact on the community. Some of the instances I'd like to highlight is under procurement and contract management, where some of our invitations for tender documents did not include the minimum threshold for local content, which unfortunately does have a negative impact on local economic development. And our contract management and monitoring of contracts are not being performed continuously, and the impact of this I'll share in a later slide. In terms of expenditure management, we unfortunately are not implementing reasonable steps to prevent unwanted expenditure such as fruitless, irregular and unauthorized. On slide 15, our conditional grants. The Urban Settlement Development Grant was not spent for its intended purpose in line with the grant framework, while other grants were also not evaluated within 2 months after the end of the financial year as required. On consequence management, no action or investigation has started in terms of unauthorized, irregular and fruitless and wasteful expenditure in order to deal with it, number one, but secondly, also to implement consequence management. From a revenue management side, an effective system of controls over our revenue system is not in place. Accounts have not been billed monthly, revenue has not been determined on a monthly basis, and there were also areas where interest charged on overdue accounts were actually not charged. Finally, then on slide 16, in terms of human resource management, the financial interests were not disclosed by the section 56 and 57 managers within 60 days of the appointment. It was disclosed, I can confirm that, just not within the legislated time frame of 60 days, and job descriptions were not established for all posts in which appointments were made. Finally, on our environmental management, various of our wastewater treatment works and landfill sites are not operating effectively under the licensing agreements, and they are not maintained, and they are depleted, defective, malfunctioning, misused and vandalized, leading to further breakdowns in service delivery. Councillors, bringing it home to what the people on the ground are experiencing in slides 17 to 19 is what I'll reflect on now. Some of the key infrastructure services or projects that we visited during the audit under review. First one is the Tabanshu wastewater treatment plant, which was aimed to extend the capacity of the plant in order to treat effluent. Unfortunately, this project has been delayed by about 36 months. The delay compromises the current existing services to be delivered to the Tabanshu community in terms of wastewater management. And overall, we have identified poor quality management of the project and loss of service potential to our community. The cause that we highlight is that leadership has not implemented the effective controls over management of key service delivery infrastructure funded by grants, which will ensure that funds are spent within its intended purpose, and the maintenance plan in place is lacking when it comes to the maintenance of these projects or service deliverables. we recommended to the leadership of the municipality that while we have a project management unit now appointed in our staff establishment, we need to urgently capacitate this unit whose responsibility it should be to monitor progress on projects, monitor it against spending, monitor it against grant funding and grant management. On slide number 18, we also visited the Vereniging Avenue, which was the widening of the Vereniging Avenue. Unfortunately, the project has also been delayed by 31 months. Items or deliverables that was previously paid for on this road project was again billed and paid by the municipality for the replacement contractor. So in essence, similar work was paid for twice, and we also identified poor quality work issues on this project. The cause and the recommendations that we made is similar to the Tabanshu wastewater treatment plant. And councillors, on slide 19 and 20, just a high-level overview of other infrastructure projects or key service delivery projects we visited. First one being the Hamilton Water Pump Station, which has been delayed by 17 months, and we have spent 92% on this project. However, the project is only at 84% completion, so there is a misalignment as indicated in the annual performance information between what is being spent, what is the progress on the ground. Construction of the Caleb-Motsabi Road also delayed by over 17 months. The project is completed, but it cost the municipality 9% over and above what was initially budgeted on the project. On slide 20 for Vista Park. Vista Park 2, the construction of bulk stormwater and detention ponds delayed by over 17 months, and this was also led to an overspending of our budget by about 20% in order to get this project completed. Similarly, for Vista Park 3, construction of internal civil engineering services delayed by over 3 months, as well as a 20% overspending on our achievement of this project. Councillors would note that all of these key projects are funded by conditional grants, and I'll get into a bit more detail on the grants in the next coming slides. On slide 21, we reflect on the pressure the municipality is currently facing in terms of its finances. You'll see there on the left-hand side, our unwanted expenditure for irregular, unauthorized and fruitless and wasteful expenditure remains quite high, and some losses the municipality experienced in the current financial year. There was revenue lost due to the municipality due to accounts relating to service charges not prepared, as I also highlighted in the non-compliance areas. This amounted to about 465 million in the current financial year. We've lost value of our property, plant and equipment due to vandalism and lack of safeguarding, amounting to about 58 million. And our inventories are written off, and this is based on the few losses that are not being safeguarded due to damaged and aged infrastructure of about 1.8 million. On the right-hand side, some key financial indicators of the erosion of public funds. Those that I will highlight, councillors, would be that 194 million rand of conditional grants were underspent that was received by the municipality. National Treasury withheld 297 million of conditional grants due to slow implementation of projects. 45% of the 24-25 budget will have to pay for the expenditure and commitments made in the 23-24 budget cycle. 28% of the activities contained in our financial recovery plan has been obtained or implemented. There currently, at 30 June 2024, remains material uncertainty whether the municipality will continue operating as a going concern in the foreseeable future. On slide 22, a graphic depiction of the unwanted expenditure. You'll note that it still remains volatile. When it comes to unauthorized, irregular and fruitless, unfortunately, a continuous steady increase in these unwanted expenditure incurred in the current financial year. If I move on then to slide 23, councillors. Our closing balance, year-end balances of unwanted expenditure continues to show a steady increase, and unfortunately there has not been any investigation as indicated previously. The reason for this non-investigation is the lack of a disciplinary board being appointed to investigate the unwanted expenditure. Since then, as I understand it, the disciplinary board has been appointed. The risk management unit of the municipality is trying to catch up on these investigations. Unfortunately, they're also not capacitated, and MPAC is not supported in its oversight role when it comes to requesting or requiring these unwanted expenditure be investigated or even consequence management implemented. Finally, as I indicated, the grant management feedback we can provide today. As councillors would be aware, the grant funding is very critical towards achieving our key service delivery objectives and funding key service delivery projects. When we look at the Urban Settlement Development Grant, it's been underspent by about 1.2%, and this is the grant that's also not been spent for its intended purposes. Public Transport Network Grant was underspent by about 54% in the current financial year. And on slide 25, the Informal Settlements Upgrading Partnership Grant underspent by 25%, while the Neighbourhood Development Partnership Grant was fully spent in the current financial year and previous 2 financial years. Councillors, the inability of the municipality to properly manage its grant funding causes service delivery breakdowns, leaving the most vulnerable in our communities behind, as I indicated or showed in the projects that we reflected on in the slide when it comes to wastewater management, access to roads, access to housing facilities, as well as water treatment. Finally, on slide 26, as Ntate Odwa indicated, we do have the increased powers to ensure that our recommendations are implemented when it comes to material irregularities. To date, councillors, we have 14 active material irregularities within the municipality. One of these are not due for a response by the accounting officer yet, while 13, no appropriate action has been taken at this stage. On the right-hand side, we share some of the detail of these 13 material irregularities. The first one is where we identified harm to the group, specifically the municipality, where our information technology assets were not adequately safeguarded and maintained. We have a loss that was not prevented, where the municipality paid for contract price adjustments and extension of time on 2 projects, and this resulted, 3 projects, and this resulted in 3 separate material irregularities. Contractual obligations not settled within 30 days, specifically on a key project, 1 material irregularity. Harm to the general public, pollution of water resources not prevented, and poor management of landfill sites, sitting at 5 material irregularities. Further losses not prevented, employer pension fund contributions not paid in accordance with the rules of the pension fund. Assets not safeguarded, reasonable steps not taken to safeguard our zoo animals. And finally, reasonable steps not taken to prevent fuel losses or overpayment made to suppliers for work already performed or not performed, sitting at 2 material irregularities. Councillors, in the next 2 slides, I'll reflect briefly on the performance of the municipal entity Centlec. You'll note that the municipal entity has maintained an unqualified with findings audit opinion. There remains, however, a concern on the quality of performance reports produced by the municipal entity, as they also struggle with the lack of sufficient evidence. Instances of material non-compliance remain a concern, as they've been reported on in the past 3 financial years with limited intervention or action. Slide number 28, I want to provide a high-level overview of the performance of the Centlec entity. In terms of the quality of financial statements, there remains a concern in the publishing of the financial statements, as various adjustments were required in order to maintain the unqualified with findings audit opinion. Material misstatements were also identified but corrected